My name is David Parker. I currently live in New Hampshire. My wife and I did live in Massachusetts after the courts imposed gay marriage by judicial fiat. When the book Who's in a Family was given to our kindergarten son, this is a book that introduces to children gay relationships, by a teacher, we asked if the teacher mediated discussions would take place in the classroom concerning homosexuality and gay marriage. School officials in Lexington confirmed that yes, any teacher could discuss homosexual issues and gay marriage with children. It's now legal. The Gay Lesbian Education Network confirmed to us that books like these are in all classrooms and can be used to create teachable moments with young children outside of the standard curriculum, and that children will certainly have questions when they see two dads or two moms in the books. Then teachers may affirm by stating a legal fact. In Massachusetts, they could say, yes, children, gay marriage is legal in this state. The children are effectively left with the impression of one side of the issue, the moral good and gay marriage and homosexuality. And GLSEN admits that is the objective. My wife and I demanded to receive notification and have the opportunity to opt our 5-year-old out of such indoctrination. The principal of our elementary school in Lexington categorically refused. I then refused to leave her office until some form of accommodation was made for just us as parents. She called the police, had me arrested for trespassing when I continued to stand my ground on principle. After all, my parental rights were being trespassed on. I was handcuffed and taken to jail overnight. The Lexington school officials then banned me from all Lexington school property. I wasn't even allowed to pick up my son from school or go to teacher-parent meetings. Even after my arrest, affirmation, not tolerance, affirmation of gay marriage was explicitly taught to children. The book King and King, which was referenced earlier, which celebrates gay marriage in a child's mind, was read to a second-grade class in the same school. My first-grade son claimed it was read to him in first grade on Valentine's Day. Activist teachers feel that they have the right by law, since gay marriage was legalized, and they state such. We filed a federal lawsuit requesting notification and opt-out. Keep in mind, we didn't even say, don't do this or take the books out. Just notification and allow our child to opt out. Courts ruled that parents have no such right. One judge even wrote, the reading of the book King and King was precisely intended to influence the children towards gay marriage. Since gay marriage was legal, parents have no notification rights. I want this committee to understand that forcing the redefinition of marriage on society can and will be used coercively and sometimes as an iron fist against those that disagree. A civil union was the compromise. We have compromised. Not everyone is happy with it, but sometimes that's the nature of a compromise. Legalizing gay marriage, on the other hand, neither increases nor decreases a gay couple's love and commitment for one another, but it is used to force affirmation on society and used to manipulate our children into embracing and celebrating homosexuality as a form of diversity. Those of you that vote yes, you need to own these truths. And I actually have I have a question for the committee. If it is legalized, you must agree that this has to be read to children just like Snow White, or it will be discriminatory. Thank you.
Are there any questions or comments for this witness?
Hello, I'm Tony Perkins, President of the Family Research Council here in Washington, D.C. You may be asking yourself, how will same-sex marriage affect my family? Well, based on the evidence, everything changes when same-sex marriage becomes legal. If it is legalized, then it must be taught as normal, acceptable, and moral behavior in every public school. Don't believe me? It's already happened in Massachusetts. That means public schools in every grade, even kindergarten, must teach your children to accept same-sex marriage. This really confuses children.
David, appreciate you and Tanya inviting us to come into your home. I've been looking forward to sitting down and talking to you about this because I think this is such an important story, and I think parents need to know what's happening in our schools.
The beginning of 2005, our son Jacob was going into kindergarten, and he came home with a diversity book bag. And in the diversity book bag was a book entitled Who's in a Family by Robert Scutch, and that introduces children to same-sex households.
Now, wait a minute, let me be clear. Your son is in kindergarten.
Yes.
And he was given a book about homosexuality and marriage?
Yes.
What was your first reaction when you saw this?
When I saw the book, I was quite upset that they would couch this as diversity and include it in a diversity book bag and not give me notification that they were going to be introducing this topic of homosexual relationships and homosexual behavior and to my young 5-year-old child. I was very upset.
I have the book right here. Who's in a Family? It introduces children to such things as Clifford and her dad's partner, Henry.
This is what they sent home with your 5-year-old?
That's correct, Tony. After the diversity book bag came home, we realized that the intention of the administrators and teachers was to affirm these relationships and gay marriage in the minds of children. When we went into the school, what we requested is parental notification when these issues are brought up by adults within the school, and the option to opt our child out of this type of indoctrination.
So we didn't think, number one, it was appropriate to discuss that with our 5-year-old, and that if we ever felt it was necessary to have that discussion with our son, we would choose the timing and the manner in which to discuss it with him. And then she said, well, she had checked with the administrators and they had said that this was not a parental notification issue, and in fact that any adult in the school could discuss homosexual families and homosexual issues with our children.
One of the reasons they give is they said same-sex marriage is legal in Massachusetts. Therefore, we can broach it anytime with your child. And when they are putting forward that it's equal, they're putting forward that it's a morally equal alternative and affirming it in the minds of children. Now, these are young, impressionable children, and they know very well that there are many parents that do not hold these beliefs. But irrespective of that, in an intolerant manner and in an aggressive manner, they are putting forward that we as parents do not even have the right to know what they're saying to our children.
So when she would not acknowledge our parental rights in this area, we then went to our Judeo-Christian beliefs and our faith and said, well, you wish to affirm homosexuality to our son. You're presenting that which is sin as though it is not to our son, and we cannot allow that. And at that point, she reiterated, this is not a parental notification issue.
It is our sacred duty as parents to guide our child. What they did and what they were doing at the point where they won't allow parental notification or the option to opt out is they were taking the parental role for themselves. And they had no tolerance for the notion that parents have the right to be the primary directors of the child's upbringing and moral education. And I said, I'm prepared to sit here all night until I see some form of accommodation as a parent. To make a long story short, the accommodation they gave was to put me in handcuffs and send me to jail.
I couldn't believe that they were willing to arrest my husband because my husband and I just wanted parental notification. We want to raise our children to know God, and God has blessed us with the sacred responsibility to raise them for Him, to know Him, and to know His truth.
I was willing to see how far this administration would go in denying us our rights and squashing parental rights. And they were willing to handcuff a father and send him to jail. It was a 6x8 cell, filthy. But, you know, I felt I didn't have a choice at that point in order to fulfill my role and duty as a father. Parents need to stand their ground. If they intend to have a war over our parental rights, battling for the hearts, minds, and souls of our children, then let it begin here.
Do you see the implications of same-sex marriage being legalized in your state? It affects every family and every child, including yours. Every household with children will find themselves dealing with same-sex marriage discussions with their kids. King was being given to kindergartners. Even worse homoerotic material was being made available at a conference that was open to adults and students as young as middle school. The conference was organized by GLSEN, the Gay, Lesbian, and Straight Education Network.
My name is Brian Kamaker. I'm president of Mass Resistance, pro-family group in Massachusetts. We've been around for over 16 years. I got involved because father, and I was really upset with what was going on in the schools with my own kids. And some of the stuff that's going on in the schools in Massachusetts is really, really terrifying. Here's an example of something that was that was at Brookline High at a GLSEN conference. GLSEN is the gay organization that puts the gay-straight alliances in the schools. The little black book, Queer in the 21st Century. This was picked up at Brookline High School at a gathering of teachers and kids pushing the gay agenda at that school. This is so disgusting that I can't really read it to you. It tells kids how to safely perform a variety of really gross and unhealthy homosexual sex acts. And again, I can't read it to you because it is so vulgar and so offensive. It tells where you can meet other kids who are homosexual or